Is going to be starting out on defense. They'll have the two outer bans, this initial one as well as the final one. Beast Coast on the orange side will be starting attack, meaning they get the two center bans.
It's, you know, I wish I could somehow translate this feeling at home for you guys. You have no idea how nice it is to be in a studio and commentate. It's a completely different vibe. You're not at home feeling like you're casting Challenger League. Sorry, my Challenger League commentators. But, you know, it's just a very, very different vibe. The energy is just so much better. But overall, guys, we are into Cafe now. Nomad and Thatcher are both going to be removed for the offense, so not limited inside of the hard breach department. Should make it fairly straightforward for Beast Coast, minus the Thatcher. Also, the Mirror Band going to come through here for them. And I really like this one looking into it. Obviously, it's going to prevent a couple of those mirror windows being used, especially on that top floor, but we've seen them sparsely used downstairs as well.
Echo going to be the last one to be knocked out there, as we've seen quite a bit of Echo play, specifically inside of the kitchen, but in quite a few other departments also. So knocking that out is going to remove that very useful utility from SSG to potentially keep that in their back pocket for a late round clutch, which, I'll be honest, fairly of common occurrence on Cafe. So going to be a pretty good ban in my opinion. As we get into the initial picks, though, shouldn't be too surprising to see a Lion come out here, seeing most notably as we have the Nomad ban. Lion is kind of the go-to backup in a lot of senses to fill that role. So Foza will be dropping into that no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, a big fan of this, especially for the way that they're going to be having to play into SSG's strategy here. You can already see that this is going to be a top floor defense, and they are just sending the kitchen sink at Beast Coast currently. We'll have Goyo, Castle, and Aruni all along for the ride, partnered with that Jaeger. The Mute's there just for that extra flavor, just nice some drones and a couple of walls if they can really get down to it. But this is mostly going to go down inside of Christmas. Now, the biggest thing here for Beast Coast is that they have a lot of different opportunities available to them because of the operator lineup that they have, folks, specifically Anthony on the Buck. This is something that you can use to abuse that vertical play, specifically over inside of Cocktail through reading. They'd want to get control of that and actually break up through that floor and make those positions difficult for the SSG members to play in that area. As for the rest of SSG, though, they're more than likely going to be set it up for that Christmas take like we were talking about before. This is mostly going to be centralized around that bathroom, as well as Cigar with all of these ADSs, laser gates, as well as castle barricades.
Hole on the floor there inside of Christmas is going to allow for SSG to extend a player downstairs into trains and more than likely play that angle for a possible Nitro Cell pick or something else earlier on in this round as Beast Coast will more than likely take initial control from the red hatch and then push towards that breach in the floor if they follow usual trends. That's not to say that's going to happen, though. We'll take a look and see what exactly Beast Coast will give us in a moment, but it does look like things are going pretty much according to plan so far here off of the first 20 seconds.
Well, whoever is quarterbacking that Nitro Cell play, I hope they look better than the Detroit Lions, because they're not looking too hot right now. But either way, for SSG, they're not going to be too dedicated overall to the downstairs area just yet. They will have a singular player playing around white stairs, but they'll also have this very forward mute, and that's going to be Skies here playing inside of Cigar, and we all know how damning that M590 could be if you approach him incorrectly, so more than likely be able to sit on this for quite some time, just wasting Beast Coast's time overall.
Yeah, doing a pretty good job of that so far. Relative inaction between both of our teams outside of the first minute here in the round, and we'll see the opening action start to build up here as Anthony's going to be able to line one up just normally. Frag Grenade was trying to be primed against the freezer hole, but is not going to work out here. Minimal damage done to the defenders, obviously minus the elimination of Fultz that happened off screen here with Anthony claiming that initial kill.
And of course, folks, everyone here inside of the NAL today will more than likely be running the Kickstarter charm. It is not a requirement, but we have seen already so many of these. So shout out to all the pro players also for, you know, today being very difficult, but still playing through this and making sure to keep the memory of kicks along with us. We're about halfway through this round now, folks. Not too much action has happened in between these two. Beast Coast still working on this mid floor. They're assuming SSG wants something to do with this, but as of right now, not too much has happened. Did end up clearing in through train. Now they've gotten control of reading, so it looks to be the cocktail attack like we were talking about before with that skeleton key, so Anthony should begin working on that momentarily, but the timer's going to continue to dwindle, and this is where things are going to get desperate here in a little while. SSG's been able to hold onto this for some time, and Bosco will be managing white as of right now. Hot and Cold's going to get lit up, but it's going to be Jay to actually strike first as he'll take down Rampy.
Taking him out leaves Bosco as one of the few players going down now, and actually Skies, after Sippin claims another kill. A solid start here so far for Beast Coast as they build up an excellent matrix to execute the members of SSG one by one. However, there is still one remaining, and that's going to be Skies. He starts to frag back a little bit here, a little more than a little bit here as he takes out Fozo on top of that one. Still 3 players to go, but important note right now, the case is down inside of Skies' line of vision, I do believe, over towards the library doorway. It's going to be picked up, though, and to correct myself, it actually was out of his vision as it's still sitting behind the door. However, regardless, the members of Beast Coast are still going to need to get that into the building and into a plant position at some point over the next 20 seconds. They've got the positional security to do so, and you can see that over here towards Cocktail, but they're being so careful of the aggression that is going to eventually come from Skies, and there it is. Alex shuts it down, and it's a surprise opening round going the way of Beast Coast.
Yeah, it was a beautiful setup there for SSG, but they just ended up losing the plot pretty quickly once Beast Coast started applying pressure. Just too much damage, not really an opportunity for SSG to try and battle back. It was really only Skies that got something on the board there, and he could only do that from new drop, so pretty rough round overall for SSG, but love the idea there from Beast Coast. Did not want to try and deal with that Christmas setup because that's the focal point of what SSG was going for. Completely avoid it, apply pressure to the back end, and, well, thrive. Beast Coast right now up 1-0.
So Beast Coast with a strong footing to start things off will force a site swap for SSG. They're not going to reattempt upstairs. Instead, they'll be heading down to the first floor, where we've actually been seeing teams start this map out more commonly as of late. You normally have that quick choice to go between the first and third floor. Looks like we are going to try to get a rehost going here as Beast Coast is having some issues with their drones, so stand by for a second, folks, and make sure that that's confirmed, and indeed it shall be. So we'll head into game in just a second here and allow the players to quickly remake.
But not to anybody else. That's how this works. So don't say a single damn thing. All love and chat. That's how it works, okay, guys? But we're going to be getting back into it now, though, as Beast Coast still up 1-0 over SSG. We only got to see the initial round, which was upstairs on the bar floor. And just as a reminder for some of you, if you guys were off getting your popcorn or whatever the heck you were doing, it was that top floor defense, and Beast Coast ended up going for a cocktail attack instead of going through Christmas, which SSG had been set up for. They're going to be switching things up, going away from that top floor, headed down towards kitchen, and they're also going to go through a couple of different operator change-ups as well.
To take a look at specifically what that is going to entail here, lots of drone denial coming in as we get the double combo for that over on SSG between Mute as well as Mozzie. It should be noted, folks, that we are also playing on not the most recent patch that had the changes to Mozzie's gun as well as one other. We are on the one prior to that, so those changes are not going to be in play here today for our matches. You guys might have a little bit of trouble noticing that at home if you're watching, since, as far as I'm aware, it just mainly affects recoil patterns. It's looking like, unfortunately, we might have to rehost this again. Has not been confirmed just yet, but I will be awaiting confirmation there, and then we'll see. It looks like 5-5.
I was like, how do you fit all of that inside of this man? It's just so crazy.
He's a skinny guy, too.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Just absolutely ludicrous. But either way, we're back into this, folks, and hopefully third time's the charm, as we're going to jump back into it and see if SSG and Beast Coast can actually play the video game.
Let's indeed confirm, and once we do have that confirmation, we'll be resuming things once again here inside of the second round of this matchup. Beast Coast currently up 1-0, and SSG trying their second defensive site here to see if they can also net themselves an additional round to tie us up. That's going to be down here in kitchen, where we've got a fairly standard setup coming in so far here. That's kind of more than likely going to be the game plan for today, folks. Just a quick reminder here, SSG is already qualified for the majors, so keeping that in mind, they don't necessarily need to reveal anything or expand beyond the basics if they don't feel the need to here, because losing this match is very obviously of little consequence to them.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it really doesn't mean that much. It means a lot to Beast Coast, though. It means the world to them. Everyone, over these next two playdays, you guys saw the standings. Lots of sixes on that. Over these next two playdays, it is going to be a war of attrition to see who can stay inside of the NAL. And honestly, I'm here for it. It's going to be a lot of action-packed matches, especially centralized around teams that we never get to really get too excited about. Some of them that really haven't been too, lucrative throughout the year thus far, and some that have been dwindling. So we'll see exactly what happens. But luckily enough, folks, seems like we are glitchless, and we will be getting in through round 2. So let's look across here and see what SSG have in the works. Looks like they do want to be working on that basement level once again. They'll be inside of kitchen with Beast Coast obviously on the offense. They're initially going to be looking into coat check with the Yana hologram, and they're not going to find too much, all except for a lone soldier here at the bottom of red.
Still going to have to try and vie for control and steal that area away eventually, though, so SSG will continue to maintain prominence as a result of that. Doesn't seem like Beast Coast are focusing too much on the horizontal clear, at least to start things out, though the first minute has gone by, and they seem to be primarily focusing on the red hatch entry and working their way down from there. It is quite a bit of an extended game, I believe, on the second floor here for SSG, so there will be quite a few things they have to deal with as they work their way down, but once they've managed to do that, especially if once again they can fulfill this kills the way they were doing inside of the first round here, they'll have a very easy time taking the site, as more than likely they'll have a pretty hefty man advantage by the time they work their way down. SSG needs to find some way to successfully counter all of this aggression out, because right now it is failing in quite a few ways, but something interesting could be happening towards White Stairs.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of action starting to go on, but none towards the actual players just yet, minus Rampy. Still been able to live their lives throughout this. Need to hold on, especially to this go check area. This is going to be a big play here for Skies if he's able to hold on to this for some time, but more than likely worried about what can possibly go on with these vertical angles. Does have that nitro cell to try and fire back as well, so we see how that ends up breaking down. But you can see SSG have actually set up quite a few different obstacles for Beast Coast to try and get over throughout this, including this reinforcement here. It's going to block off one of the very important angles to abuse from the second floor. Also those mute jammers lying in wait to try and block out any of Beast Coast info, and you can see how much it's worked so far already. Beast Coast down under a minute, almost 45 seconds remaining. They've only gotten the initial pick.
Much better job here from SSG at waiting out the time after the initial loss was taken against Rampy. A quick adjustment after the mistakes made in the first round, and they seem to be very, very much so locking in on just this first floor control and looking to run the timeout now against Beast Coast's attack. Speaking of which, we are going to start to see them putting pressure on this VIP hold.
No!
Hot and Cold had every advantage he could ask for in that scenario, but Sippin still ends up getting the better out of him, takes him down, and that's another player going down for SSG. A 3v5 is what they'll have to come back from now. Could go even lower soon, but Skies, with great timing on this assist from the inside of Small Bakery, takes out Young as well. We're going to see more pressure against him, but he not only downs that player, the one inside of Bakery. Bosco is able to down another as well. Skies will get both of the credit for that one, and ultimately Fultz shuts out the last with a quick pump of the M590 at the main kitchen doorway.
That was pretty gross. That was pretty gross. Fantastic play from Skies there inside of Small Bake. Able to get all of the frags and assist his player behind the bakery storefront as well. So SSG finally able to get one on the board here after the initial round was not looking too hot. Have to be happy with that, and they're going to be headed towards the mid floor this time around, which obviously is going to push them into a top floor defense. We're going to see a lot of the stacking of utility here, especially in the likes of Jaeger, Wamai, and Goyo. But it looks like Hot and Cold isn't exactly leaning on the shields here. He's going to 6-pick it out. Obviously Goyo, a very big choice when it comes to that top floor, so it could be kind of a switch-a-maroo here, trying to get them to think that that top floor clear is a necessity, when in fact it's actually going to be this mid-level. Let's see how SSG want to set this up, and if Hot and Cold's going to try and get aggressive with his Valkyrie.
Figure this out in just a moment here. The mid-floor hold for SSG to bring quite a bit of variance once again when it comes to the operator lineups. As far as the attack is concerned, though, everything is staying pretty much the same here. They found success already, and it nearly did it again on the second round. Unfortunately, was unable to find the aggression necessary to take out that hard-locked bunker from SSG inside of Bakery specifically, as well as the site itself. You can even see the VIP hold falling apart, but that still wasn't enough control for Beast Coast to leverage their control into the site and take a second round for themselves. We'll see if they run into similar issues here on the second floor, where SSG is once again going to use the third floor quite a bit as well for their extended hold, mainly on Cocktail.
Yeah, they have got to hold on to this space for as long as possible, because this plays right into the hand of Beast Coast. They want to abuse the soft destruction, open up this top floor, and start just devouring these SSG members on that second level. It's so difficult to try and fight those vertical angles, although we have seen them won quite a numerous amount of times, but still, just at a bare level, it's usually not exactly the best way to take things. So SSG will dedicate quite a bit of their utility up to this top floor, and they're more than likely going to have Rampy and Fultz operating around this space, specifically Fultz, actually, just because of him getting those discs over time. So he'll actually be able to make the problem even that much more so throughout the round. As for SSG now, though, waiting on Beast Coast's next move. They'll be getting things at the top red area, trying to drone out this mid-floor, and they're not actually going to have too much to find in this space.
As we can see here, Young Alec looking to put the aggression in on the wrap hole, actually. He's going to go directly for that pressure early on. An opportunity was given to him to do some damage to a member of SSG. Unfortunately, falters in that, unable to follow through. So we'll still have to be happy with just the control over here towards the inside of mining, as well as the trains room. Work from that point forward and try and get themselves a bit closer to the site. Still a lot to be cleared upstairs, too. This is truly only the beginning of Beast Coast's take, as we saw in previous rounds as well. But Skies looking for something interesting down here on the first floor. Might be opening up a rotate over towards red for himself for more options of aggressive play later on in this round. And by later, I mean very, very soon. The next 45 seconds or so, we should start to see the beginning of the ending action for this round.
Yes, indeed, and it seems as though Fultz has gotten himself into a prime spot upstairs, hasn't been droned out just yet, and still has some sort of an assist from Rampy playing stacks currently. It's going to be Skies to strike first as an EE1D goes out. Anthony obviously won't be marked from that as it is on his team, but SSG have done a great job of stunting everything thus far. Sippin, Beautiful shot onto Fultz. He'll take him out inside of Cigar, but he still, or rather Cocktail, but he still has so many players to worry around this space, especially Bosco currently playing here on White Stairs. Beast Coast haven't been able to actually make that large of an impact where they're going to have an opportunity to plant just yet, so they have to commit to one of these ideals. Otherwise, the timer is going to continue to dwindle and more people are going to die. Fozo to fall next is Beast Coast. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They don't know where to go. They're going to start breaking up the floor and try and find some frags. Anthony seeming like he knows that there's one at the back of Reading, but nothing coming of that. Rampy, he'll have a gunfight upstairs, but it's not even going to go down that way. Instead, it'll be Sippin to die next, and now it's down to the 2 versus 4.
Once again, the delay is getting the better of Beast Coast here. SSG using all their utility to wait out these fights for as long as humanly possible. Look at this right now. One of them running down the stairs there as Skies tries to escape. To no avail for him, but for the rest of the team, it works out quite well. They shut it down with 2 final M590 picks, and once again, SSG is in control here with a 2-1 lead over Beast Coast.
Yeah, White Stairs just turned into a clown car right there. Everyone was just pouring out of the bottom stairwell. I mean, very unfortunate for Beast Coast there, but I mean, really, what more do they want out of that? They really weren't trying to make a forceful effort into any area. They just kind of wanted SSG to back off and give up the space, and that was definitely not going to happen. SSG played that out so very well, especially on that top floor with the amount of delay that they had, even after Fultz got picked inside of Cocktail. We didn't see Beast Coast try to push forward and take that space. They eventually got Freezer, but it really wasn't all that much going into the plot. So for Beast Coast now, it's going to be an adjustment in their pacing as to what they can do on this offensive side. They really need to get these team plays going on because SSG is no slouch. They're going to continue to make you sit on this timer, and if you're going to sit back and just allow that, then this defensive side for SSG is just going to go off with flying colors.
Got a little bit of a glimmer of hope coming in for Beast Coast on this round, however, when you consider this is the one site that SSG had issues with and lost, mainly because Beast Coast had those great picks, and the picks never really ended. They were able to slowly isolate out the members of SSG on a one-by-one basis and bring it down to a point where it was just Skies trying to hold his own. Did a good effort, killed 2 of them at least, but nowhere near enough to get the outright 1v5 clutch, so Beast Coast still close out that round with relative ease. I doubt they're going to have as easy of a time this time around, as SSG is going to make some small adjustments for themselves to hopefully allow their players to stay alive later into the round. We'll see how all that plays out, though, as Beast Coast is on the board once again. Let's see what their initial strat is going to be.
No change up for Beast Coast and their overall strategy. For SSG, they're going to continue this rotation of operators. I mean, just Fultz alone, we've already seen him play so many different things, as well as Skies, who's been constantly switching back and forth. And this is just that telltale sign of what SSG have really been working on, this free-flowing offense where they're really able to slot anyone into any position and make it work. So honestly, really happy to continue seeing this with SSG, even given the circumstances. You know, obviously SSG already in for the major, so don't have to worry about things too much, but still sticking to the overall strategy here. Any practice is good practice, especially with a team that has only been together for one stage.
So taking a look here now, Beast Coast once again looks to try and pierce the veil, get their way past SSG.
Great band, by the way.
And onto the site, but see, once again, quite a bit of delay in trying to find that first kill this time. The utility was the main way they were able to leverage themselves into it on the first round, and this time it's not panning out so well. As we can see, all this utility getting dumped at the moment, mainly mitigated by what SSG has set up themselves, so no success in isolating out anyone. However, that could be changing over the next 30 seconds or so, as you guys can see, quite a bit of this utility is starting to be taken down, with a Goyo shield by Pixel getting eliminated first, and now probably a push leading up to at least the White Hall doors will be probably very soon, and what happens there for Sippin? Just goes blank as he sees Rampy sitting in the corner, allows him to find the pick, and Fultz as well follows up with a quick second one.
We literally have spectator cams, and I had no idea that Rampy was there. That, like, he just practically spawned inside of White Hall. Unfortunate for Beast Coast, but they've lost 2 of their members, and the biggest thing is they've lost most of their explosives, folks. No more explosives on this offense, and this is something that I wanted to touch on. When they're playing into these setups here from SSG, they seriously need to double down on those. We're not even seeing 2 sets of frag grenades here. Instead, we see the breaching charges, but now they're starting to battle back in, or the breaching rounds, rather, from Ash. But either way, they're starting to battle back now, as they've initially picked up 1, but Skies has helped inside of this delay, and now with minimal time, it's going to be up to Beast Coast to try and make some magic happen, but it's not for them to take. It's SSG's round, at least it looks like right now. Well, Fozo might actually have something to say about this. He'll take down Rampy initially, but with 30 seconds remaining, he's got to get the ball rolling here, and it's looking to be the double swing from both ends, and it doesn't even need it. Fultz, he'll step out from stacks, take him down, and SSG will find their 3rd round.
You can see great work and great effort coming in there from SSG once again, playing things incredibly passively, incredibly laid back until they get those initial 2 picks. That's when they realize, all right, guys, we have the advantage. It's time to snap this jaw shut. And they do that pretty much perfectly there. From the back end, we see the Nitro Cell come sailing from the still maintained position over by Trains to shut down 2 additional players. And then, as you talked about, the double swing there at the end to take down the last one. SSG are making sure they take out Beast Coast with minimal risk here, and that plan is working out brilliantly for these past 3 rounds.
Yep, on Cafe, it's all about playing around your teammates and playing for those refrags. You do not want to go down without trading because of how much utility means here. I mean, even inside of that round, we saw a big double kill, and it happened to be onto Ash, as well as, I believe, Buck. Or no, actually, it was Ash and Yana. That's what it was. Losing the frag grenades, as well as the breaching rounds. Everyone else has stuns. That's not very good when it comes down to Cafe, especially when you're attacking into that top floor. Yeah, you'll be able to clear some gates and some ADSs, but you can't get rid of any of the hard-to-reach places behind deployable shields and stuff like that, and that just gives more harbor for SSG to play around and continue to be a nuisance to you. So I'd really like to see them change things up inside of the explosive department, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that just yet. We are going to the basement floor, so Beast Coast definitely have an opportunity to do some serious damage here, but just remember, they're only down to 1 soft breach with this overall setup. So if Anthony goes down, they're going to be heavily reliant on trying to get that top floor open with, I mean, I don't even know at this point, probably Jay if it had to be my guess. Just launch some X-Kairos on the floor and try and get it done.
Yeah, we're in the cycle at this point for Beast Coast here. SSG have found their footing and are just looping through the sites as they need to do here to try to claim as many rounds as possible. So we'll be on the basement floor, or rather the first floor for this 5th round here, and more than likely a 2nd floor library hold as we saw previously from SSGs. That'll be unlocked on the following round, which will also be the last round in the half for them. So still a possibility for a 5-1 scoreline to come alive here from SSG. Beast Coast, though, showed us some great stuff in the first round. We just unfortunately have not seen it ring true since. SSG has adjusted their play style, and Beast Coast has not, just as of yet here. So we need to see how they're going to try and put more pressure on these much more defensively weighted members of SSG here now to try and claim that 2nd round.
Yeah, this really feels as though SSG is playing against Beast Coast and Beast Coast is playing against themselves. That's really what it feels like. Beast Coast is more than likely stuck in the loop of, oh, well, if we just do this thing right inside the strategy that we're doing, then it's going to work. But that's not necessarily the case, especially when SSG is making these active adjustments up against how you're clearing the map. They already knew that Beast Coast were going to be doing this. This is why they made the adjustment for Closet. That's why Rampy was playing there in the first place. They have to force him out of this space, and now they've taken some control, but let's see how far they can get. Alex going to get lit up. They know that code check is for real now. It's not going to be a hologram in here, and that's going to be followed up with an impact, but it's not going to deal too much damage. Skies will be at the helm of this with the cross handled by Fultz as he'll start trying to apply pressure. Bosco's going to get lit up as well as Rampy, and just so many standoffs currently going on around this bottom floor.
A lot of things are going to change up here over the next few seconds, depending on who ends up winning control over these fights here, and Beast Coast knows it too. They're going to commit as much utility as they can. A little bit of damage going on the hot and cold, but the bar ends up eating most of it there. Sippin will now pushing with the Candela supporting that play, but it's immediately shut out by hot and cold. Skies gets a 2nd pick also, so Beast Coast fall apart at the seams yet again here. 2 more go down seconds later, and it's all on Jay in a 1v5 with at best half the HP removed from someone on SSG. It will not matter though, as SSG still shut it down when he makes the push. The bakery player secures it, and it's a flawless hold from the SSG camp.
SSG is just sitting on their arms, just punching them, man. Just fight back. Come on, Beast Coast. Come on, guys. Like, do something here. It's like your big brother. It's not even fair. I mean, SSG just running over Beast Coast currently. And we go back to this, folks. Beast Coast really sticking to what their fundamental plan is for Cafe and not making any adjustments. They think that they can kind of just waltz in and do what they planned initially, and that's not the case. SSG are constantly moving the goalposts and making it more and more difficult simply because they know what Beast Coast actions are going to be, and they more than likely know what the actions are going to be again as they go to Reading Room Fireplace Hall. This time, though, they're going to change it up once again. It's a 6-pick to the Kaid. They'll keep the walls upstairs electrified, and they're actually going to add the Goyo here, which we saw 6-picked out the last time for the Valkyrie.
That's going to bring quite a bit of delay back into the play here, obviously changing out the intel for that delay potential. Now, obviously, Beast Coast are going to be able to deal with that without too much of an issue, given the utility that they have brought to the table here, specifically with the Ashe Yana combination. But away from that, still a lot of work that's going to need to be done here, which Beast Coast really struggled with. Their transition, most notably from the 3rd down to the 2nd floor, was where things really went awry. They had lots of problems taking control over White and being able to properly use that to get themselves close enough to the site. No problems over here on the west side of the building, though. We've seen them go in, take trains, as well as mining with no problem whatsoever and flushing out any resistance from SSG, but that's only a building point. They need to get a lot more than that if this attack is going to work this time.
Yeah, absolutely. They have got to get some grounds taken over, especially on this top floor where SSG have been able to just make magic happen time and time again. Although the first round obviously not going their way, ever since then it's been the SSG show, and how fun has it been? I mean, we only have 2 members on SSG who currently have 2 deaths right now, and this is the last round of this defensive half. They're looking magical. We'll see if they can try and continue it, or if Beast Coast is going to switch things up. They're not going to be changing things up inside of the operator department, sticking to the game plan here, so we'll see how that works out for them. I'm really looking to see if they can get some more traction out of Fozo in these EE1Ds.
Away from that, though, we'll see exactly how he's going to be able to use that to surprise SSG at best, especially if they can catch someone from SSG moving back from these more extended positions, such as the cocktail hole that we're seeing now. It is going to spot the Yana drone working its way in there, so the Gemini will get shot out quite quickly, and Fultz is actually getting a little aggressive as he swings out a bit more there, potentially to challenge the cigar drop, but ends up taking a wiser stance, backs away from that, maintains his position inside of the freezer where he's well supported. Flashes are going to start to ring his way, but they'll be difficult to affect him with the amount of utility mitigation that is set up for SSG. So we'll continue to see Beast Coast struggle as they try to take out as much as possible before committing to an inside push here.
All right, so Sippin already landing true on one of the Goyo shields upstairs. That's the initial breaching round that he used, as well as young Alex still having 2 frag grenades as well. All these stun grenades still pouring in, and still plenty of those to try and operate around as well. Fultz, he's going to start trying to push forward. He goes for the play. He'll only be able to get 1. He takes down Alec. That's going to be a huge pick, actually, for SSG. Obviously, those Electro Claws, they're going to continue to persist, whereas the hologram, not exactly usable after death, so they're not going to have as much info to try and play off of it, as well as, look at the time, folks, and look where Bosco is. There's a minute remaining. He's still residing inside of Cocktail. Rampy still has freezer control. Beast Coast are stumped.
The good news, only really good news here for Beast Coast at this point, is that for the most part, the utility from SSG has been used up. There is still 1 Nitro Cell sitting on Skies, but away from that, everything is gone. That includes things like Toxic Babes and whatnot as well. So they have nothing to hold this back anymore, except for their guns, but that might just be enough here as Jay gets a 1-2 exchange, losing 2 of his teammates, and going overall down to a 3v2 here. SSG still holds the advantage, as well as a lot of aggressive control toward the staircases, meaning once again, Beast Coast are going to struggle to make that transition to the second floor. Skies shuts out Sippin, leaving only Jay in this skirmish now in a 1v3 scenario. He knows he's got one on the same floor as him somewhere. He also knows he's got a lot of vertical play here. Nice find to take out Rampy, but 20 seconds remain to find the last 2 players. Now look, make sure this is as safe as it can be. Drops to the inside, is not going to be ready for hot and cold. Already waiting on the 90 angle to shut him down and secure a 5th round for SSG.
I mean, what do you do when the round just seems impossible? That's the biggest thing. Again, we go back to this Beast Coast not truly getting any pressure on that cocktail space. They initially get rid of the Goyo shield, but it's still a 1-front assault at the end of the day. They're only pushing in from the Christmas side, and obviously SSG knows what's going on with that. What I would really like to see is possibly somebody get on cocktail window. You have got to be applying pressure to the back end of these players. Obviously, it is risky, especially with the air jabs being out of play currently, but it's still something that desperately needs to be done in certain situations, and it looked to be the situation right there for Beast Coast. But enough mincing words about that side. We're halfway through this one, folks, as SSG is currently up 5-1. Beast Coast will be taking control of the defense, and they're immediately headed to the ground floor, where they're actually going to have a bandit along for the ride.
And it will be interesting to see played out here, as he can obviously provide quite a bit of additional reinforcements to most notably the kitchen side walls, where we see them brought out the most. But Fozo also more than likely going to assist with the freezer side walls also. Just going to have to be paying close attention to the breach work coming up from the kitchen, or rather the dining room up above, which actually they've opened that up, so more likely not going to be reinforcing those walls as they've got the VIP setup, so might actually leave that one open for a rotate. But we'll see in just a moment what the final setup is going to look like here, as Beast Coast is looking to get a strong start here in the second half for themselves.
I'll be honest, I'm really scared for Beast Coast inside of this round. This is going to be an extended roam, something that we've seen happen a decent amount of times here on Cafe, most notably from BDS, if you guys remember that about a year ago, 2 years ago, where they started doing that here on Cafe, and it all sudden centralizes around that hatch inside of dining where you're able to drop back down into sight and play it out from there. But it's going to be about limiting what SSG can do early here. Beast Coast want to get out ahead of them, start trying to get some of these frags. We'll see how it works out for them, but the reason that I'm scared is because SSG have played so fluently as a team throughout this thus far that I really don't think that Beast Coast are going to be able to get one up on them. It's going to have to be something drastic, and well, if it does go their way, we hopefully hope that they get away with it. That's the biggest thing here. We're going to have the EE1Ds out for SSG now. The first one, not going to hit its mark.
SSG wasting no time, though, in trying to open up a path into the site. They already have a Maverick lined up next to the service as well as bakery walls, and I'm imagining at least at this point he's done a little bit of work to at least partially open that up. There you go. You can see it in front of your eyes right now. In fact, Fozo can do nothing to stop that play from coming out. So the Bandit, unfortunately, not going to have a whole lot of effectiveness in this play. This lineup from Fozo, though, this is the pre-fire. He'll try to go for it to try to knock him out when that's opened up, but will miss the opportunity. Another E1D goes out, but I don't believe it's going to gather any useful intel for the SSG camp, as they're still looking for a path into this site. More importantly, an opening kill opportunity, so the push is a bit more viable here. Fozo with the opportunity, but instead it's going to be Hutton from the bakery side that shuts him out instead. Turns that one around real quick. And once again, SSG are in control.
Oh, I don't know if you saw the webcam there, but Fozo was not happy about that one. And, I mean, who really would be at the end of the day? That's just super unfortunate. But for you Mav mains at home, look at what Rampy did there. He did not prone. He crouched instead. And that's what you should be doing because it guards your face. If they shoot your feet, yeah, it's going to deal some damage, but at least you won't die instantaneously like this poor soul as Sippin hops out red stairs here, rather. Takes down Rampy. So they'll be able to at least find the equalizer here, and that timer really starting to dwindle down. SSG obviously with a lot of control inside of Bakery, though, so they'll be looking for the plant momentarily, but there's still quite a bit of defensive utility here to try and burn through as well. Specifically the Nitro Cell from Alec, as well as the smokes from Jay, who could play a big part inside of this. Anthony will be trying to play some defense around Prep Kitchen currently from that mid floor, but really, it's only been onto the timer thus far. No one really taking any damage as SSG is still looking for a pick to try and push their way into sight.
On Cold still waiting for the ability to try and put some pressure on the Beast Coast inside. As Dokes was just mentioning there, Fultz will find it eventually here, gets Jay peeking as he's been doing that pretty much the whole round. Finally, he's going to get his just desserts for doing so. Sippin will get some revenge, but Skies gets just as much a moment later. And once again, SSG are in control in the 3v2 scenario here. Sippin already down at about half HP as well, and SSG are in the site with control. But what a shot here from Sippin to take out Bosco instead. It is reciprocated though, meaning Sippin's now alone here in the 1v2. It's a harsh angle as he tries to work his way into Kitchen. Hodden as well as Sky should be able to take him out if he peeks this breach too far. Looks like he's going to realize that. Start to back away a little bit. Working towards a different angle. You'll note the repel play, though, as we'll see the assistance from Skies go up to the second floor, just in the case that he failed in the 1v1, but that won't even be necessary, as Skies holds the line and pushes SSG that much closer to closing this match out.
It's just truly incredible now that I've been able to truly see it with my own eyes, how much Skies is able to stay alive inside of these rounds. Time and time again, he's just simply waiting for that next mark to eventually push himself forward instead of going for the risky play, and it plays so well into SSG's hand. Really like what I'm seeing from them, but what else would you expect? Today was about what Beast Coast can do, and as of right now, it really looks like not much, at least in the adjustments department. That's the big thing right now for Beast Coast, is they're really just throwing anything in the wall and hoping that it sticks, whereas SSG is making the big game-changing things happen right now across the board, even on this offensive side, and that's how we've reached this point. The team play for SSG is just too damn strong.
Beast Coast is going to head back to the old reliable here to try and see if they can hold on, at least start a comeback for themselves here on this one. It's the upstairs hold in the third floor site. Goyo's back in the mix. We've got smoke for the delay for Jay, as well as Maestro there being played by Fozo to get the intel and split some use out of the Evil Eyes if it should be necessary. Away from that, though, a pretty usual setup for the defense, and I believe the actual setup of the utility individually here is going to be fairly straightforward as well. The normal freezer setup to support a line of fire going into Cigar on the left side of your screen, and various other bits of utility built up around the site to support that.
I like the overall strategy that Beast Coast will be going for here, especially with Fozo on the Evil Eye and part with Alec and those Black Eye cams. It's going to give a lot of info to Beast Coast that could really influence a lot of these engagements, especially with where he has these Black Eye cameras actually at. Christmas more than likely going to be the hallmark of this round, but that's unless SSG has something to say about it. They will be bringing the Bucks, so the opportunity is there, just like we were talking about earlier, for that cocktail attack. They have to get reading room control for that. And now for Beast Coast, it's trying to get a read as to what SSG wants to do with this opening engagement.
Big emphasis on the drone play right now here from SSG, as we would pretty much suspect at this point in the round here. They want to try and figure out if Beast Coast have done anything a little bit more interesting. Most notably with their utility setups, they'll probably have a pretty good idea of where the players are going to be positioned at, just off of where the reinforcements and the utility is positioned. But away from that as well, can't hurt to get that extra intel about the type of angles that these members of Beast Coast might be playing against, so that SSG don't walk themselves into an instant headshot death if they get a bit too adventurous here. Beast Coast actually going to hold some pressure back on the first floor, as we can see Sippin, arguably one of the most impactful players inside of this game so far for Beast Coast, continuing to throw his aggressive weight wherever he might be able to. And it looks like he's going to do it directly against the entry point here from SSG, as he takes up position just at the bottom of red stairs here, try and punish the hatch drop.
Well, somebody has got to do something, and it's more than likely going to be Sippin. Alec and Anthony have not been able to find the scoreboard yet again today, and it's going to continue to happen for Alec. And oh my God, Beast Coast, they're falling apart at the seams. The EE1D out. It's down to a lone man. Only Anthony remains as the plant goes down in skies. I will give it to you, my friend. You have IGL'd a beautiful cafe. Beast Coast have not had a single chance in most of these rounds to get anything done, and that's going to be wraps. Put a bow on it, hot and cold. Still the best in the league, and SSG on top.
SSG, nothing really to prove here today, but they still prove something anyway against Beast Coast, as they take a 7-round victory for themselves. And that's a straight 7 rounds, by the way. The one round that we saw Beast Coast pick up was the very first round. So ever since then, SSG made a